All right, good evening, guys. So I drew up this flat Earth, hand sketch on paper. Pretty proud of what I've actually done. Actually, the drawing's not too bad. It's probably actually better than what most flat Earthers can actually draw. But I did it on paper because I wanted to sort of describe it like, I don't know, I just felt like on paper it would be a lot easier to physically describe what I'm doing instead of doing it on computer. So this second piece here, as you can see here, I've basically drawn what, is a bit of a mock sort of, geocentric sort of wandering star sort of setup. So, this sort of represents the, epicycles of some sort of random planet. It doesn't actually match any particular planet because it'd be all too hard to draw anyway. I just divided by 8 and just did it. And of course, this yellow circle here is obviously the star, the sun. And I think that inner one was like mimicking, like, I can't remember if it was mimicking like Mercury or something like that, but I just threw it on there just for the sake of it. Now, one of the things that I wanted to obviously bring up about this, right, is that flat earthers always talk about this flower of life, right? But the truth of the matter is that as all the stars pass over your position at nighttime, most of the wandering stars or the planets will go over at the exact same rate. So you won't necessarily see, these retrograde or whatever type positions at all. It just passes over each and every single night. So you won't see anything at all. The only way you can actually detect things like that is by actually coming out the second night and the third night and the fourth night after and noticing the small incremental changes that they do. And that's what they have to track that all through the months and all through the years. So for instance, this, the distance between these two epicycles could be, a couple of months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is. So you won't notice that in one night. You have to set out and do the data all year round to be able to go and assess things like that. Now, most flat earthers will say that, this sort of somewhat sits, above a certain height. And so, it's doing all of its epicycles over the top of the actual flat Earth. So the sun goes around, the moon goes around, and the planets are doing their flower of life wiggles over top of it. And I can't, like, the way I'm interpreting is that they're assuming that that all this sort of stuff is doing it on the same sort of level plane, and that it's like doing it parallel to the actual flat Earth itself. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that couldn't be further from the truth, because if I don't know if everyone you go out at night and you'll see the pathway of the stars throughout the night if you do your star tracing through the night, and you see it also with the sun too. So the way the stars and the sun both go over on a particular arc, and that arc, like I've said in other videos, will be consistent with your latitude, at the time of equator. But the actual angle itself is consistent with your latitude anyway. It's just easier to find it during the equator. So I mean, like, so for instance, this is half of that epicycle system over there. And so if I plonk that on New York and I pitch it up a certain degree, that would be the way that someone would see the sun and the stars and the planet move over New York through the middle of the night. So it's not going over, parallel to the actual surface. And, if they were down at Ecuador, this would be the path where they would see it take like 90 degrees straight up. The sun goes straight up, straight overhead, and straight back down, right? And so do the stars. Now, if you were down at Punta Arenas, right, it would be on this angle. So I'd have to flip it over, and it would be going this way, as you can see here. So the sun would be passing from the east up over to the center and then down to the west, right? And then the stars would be tracing across there as well. So how is it that you could have both the stars and sun passing over in that manner and then having it straight over the top at the equator, and then on a funny angle down New York. Like, how does that work? Like, it just can't, because everywhere else you go, I mean, if you put it in Africa, right, and it has to pan north when it's at Cape Town, so it's going in this direction, right? So if it's going in that direction there, and that direction down at Punta Arenas, and it's going in this direction down at Melbourne where I am, then what the fuck? How are you supposed to put them all together? How are you supposed to say, yeah, no worries, it's like this is the ecliptic plane of all these planets, right? These wandering stars. But this ecliptic plane does not match that ecliptic plane, and it does not match this ecliptic plane. They're all going in different directions. It like does Mars go over here, over there, and then back over there again? What the fuck? Honestly, this is one of the biggest critical problems with the geocentric system. You can say that this is flower of life and toroidal fields all you fucking want, but the truth of the matter is that these angles, they don't match. They do not match. So it's it's fucking ridiculous. So that's it. I mean, there's other ideas I have in my mind, like the fact that, when these epicycles, like on the outer planets, most of those epicycles are actually roughly about 365 days. Like, I don't think that they're specific. They're not specifically 365. They're probably like 350, but they're so close to 1 year. And why is that? It's because when these epicycles are the closest to us, right, the sun is usually at the opposite end. You got to wonder about that. It's rather convenient, isn't it, that the sun is on the opposite side of the planet to when the epicycle is its closest. And I'm sure that the sun will be further on this side when it's at one of these flat spots out the back. Do you guys ever think about that? I don't know. I'll have to draw that one up again and maybe explain that another time. All right, that's enough for tonight.